Hello everyone, just Goran here and welcome back to another Planet Zoo real life inspiration video. Today we are looking at the beautiful Springbok. We only have 3 zoos to look at today, so we're gonna take our time nice and slow and enjoy all of them in their fullest. Because of course, being a savanna animal, Springboks are often on large savanna habitats. Except for maybe over here at the first zoo we're going to look at, Safaripark Beekse Bergen, where the Springbok have their own little area, as you can see over here. It's actually been recently adjusted already, the foot is already outdated. They're making a new walking path here, so the island has been kind of cut off a bit, but also expanded. It's hard to tell, but look at this beautiful habitat over here. It's been recently adjusted, I will say. Before this they were on a larger habitat, but the zoo theorized that giving the Springbok more privacy and giving them their own little space like they have right now would help them in their breeding efforts. Also, putting them in a separate habitat like this spotlights the species a little bit more compared to being on a large field with a bunch of other animals, and the zoo really wanted to highlight these small antelope species a little bit better. So yeah, really cool stuff. Over here we can kind of have a bit of a peek of their backstage. I really wonder what the backstage looks like on the inside, because this used to be for pelicans actually. Also the habitat we can see right now, we're looking at it from the other side. This lake used to be for the pelicans. The pelicans have moved elsewhere in the zoo, and now it's all for the Springbok. So really cool kind of change over there. It's always interesting to see how these spaces can be repurposed, and yeah, we also see a little bit of change in over time as we're hopping between footage from different points in time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this habitat. Let's also have a small look at what the habitat used to be like for the Springbok. I don't have that much footage of it, mainly pictures, so let's do it with the footage that we have. So there used to be this little viewing point over here next to the rhino stall, where you're looking over the separation yard for the rhinos onto this larger field in the distance. There's also this separate area, which I think part of this is still their new habitat, and part of it is where the path is now going. It's all a little bit hard to figure out what is what exactly nowadays. But yeah, they used to have this very large field, which they shared with the Blessbok that you can see over there in the center, actually with a calf, very adorable. And all the way on the left over there you can also see some of the Springbok walking around. So they used to have lots of space, but they traded that in for a little bit of privacy. So let's move on to the next zoo, and we are in the savanna area of GaiaZoo. GaiaZoo is not divided into regions, but into biomes, although the savanna biome is basically just an Africa area. They did not really take any savannas from other parts of the world into this one, but we do have this awesome savanna habitat right in the middle, which the entire area is kind of built around, so the entire walking path goes all the way around that savanna habitat in the middle. We also go through this beautifully lush tunnel, which is mainly a viewing point for the African wild dogs, to the behind us basically, but you can also peek through these kind of sticks and stuff to see more of the savanna habitat. Also over here inside of the aviary, the kind of wetland aviary, you also have some glass viewing points that show you, in this case, the kudu. There's a bunch of cool savanna animals on this, including the kudu we can see over there on the right. We already saw some giraffes. There's also ostriches, and of course the Springbok themselves. So yeah, we are kind of at an elevation throughout the entire thing. The entire habitat is a bit of a pit with this beautiful rockwork all the way around. And over here we can see some gates sliding open into a separation yard. I think this used to be for zebras or something, but I can't quite recall. Because yeah, of course you want to be able to separate zebra, because they can be very aggressive. But don't quote me on that, it might have been for something else. But I do recall seeing a zebra in here at some point, so maybe that's just me. You can also view the exhibit from this other viewing point over here, which is next to a big food court, so you can have a nice meal while enjoying these views of all of these animals. It's really quite nice. Then let's move on to the final zoo of this video already. This is Zoo Erlebniswelt. And the first view you get of the big savanna, you might remember from the lion video, is actually over here from the lion habitat, where you can peek through the hyena habitat too. You can see a hyena walking there onto the large savanna. In this case we see some zebra, but I imagine you could potentially also see Springbok standing there if they decide to walk over. So I absolutely love this enclosure. I mean, just look at how big it is, or at least how big it feels. It's absolutely massive and feels expansive and feels just beautiful, honestly. I absolutely adore it. What I particularly like about it as well is how it's this massive space, and you keep walking alongside it, and then you leave it again. So right now, we had our first peek into it, and now we're going back into the forest, and we see some porcupine or whatever, and then you come back to this enclosure and you get another peek into it, and we see some sable antelope, and then we go back into the forest again, we see some other exhibits. So you keep coming back to this big savanna enclosure, and every time you do, you see new things. From this viewing point, I saw the Springbok in the distance over there. So it keeps the enclosure fresh, and it keeps you interested in it by not just walking for 500 meters alongside of this giant enclosure. No, you keep getting other stuff to see along the way and coming back to it with a fresh view, I guess you could say. What's also really cool over here, we can see some boats going alongside the enclosure. So let's actually have a look at what that's like. You can take the boat ride, which we also saw in the hippo video, if you recall. But yeah, it also goes past this giant savanna enclosure over here, and the views are absolutely beautiful. I mean, just look at this. It's gorgeous. I love the shoreline, all of the pebbles and rocks and things make it look so visually interesting, and then all the little bushes around there as well. It's just absolutely beautiful. Editing this has made me want to go to the zoo again. I just love it so much. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. So as you continue along the walking route, you continuously keep getting more peaks of the savanna in the distance, up until you get to this point where there is also the rhino habitat, and that's the only bit of criticism I do have with this enclosure, is the steep walls of the rhino enclosure. They kind of ruin the view just a little bit. But anyway, that was it for this video. That's all the Springbok inspiration I have for you. Hope you enjoyed, hope you liked that we kind of took our time to really take in these beautiful savanna landscapes that these zoos have created, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, bye bye!